はい、玉那覇直哉のパイロットになろう。今週も始まりました。番組 MC の玉那覇です。この番組はパイロットになろうと思っている方々、航空業界就職したいと思っている方々、そして航空業界に興味がある方々へ向けて有益な情報を配信する番組です。この番組は玉道場、ザ・ランゲージカンパニー、株式会社ジャパン、エアスマート、マスターイン、エアスマートアビエーションアカデミー、スカイサンタビズリゾートクラブ、FSO パイロット留学アカデミー以上8社の提供でコミュニティラジオ FM ギノワンからお届けいたします。放送は FM ギノワンのホームページからもご覧いただけます。ホームページにリンクされている YouTube とツイキャスでは動画配信を、リスンラジオでは音声配信を行っています。そして私、玉那覇の Facebook ライブと YouTube ライブでも同時配信中です。はい、アメリカの、玉那覇のアメリカ報告ボリューム10、いよいよ10回目を迎えました。今週もエアスマートの女性パイロットをお迎えいたします。世界的に見てもまだまだ少ない女性パイロットと言われていて、全体の数%だと言われています。ところが、エアスマートの女性パイロット率はなんと 25% と先週お伝えした通りです。今週はなんとお母さんと娘さんのパイロットのお二人、ローレンさんとアンナさんをお迎えいたしました。今、ラジオを機の女性パイロットを目指している方、ぜひお二人にご質問をお寄せください。それではお昼までの1時間ほどお付き合いください。Nice commercial time.
Okay. I picked up a few words here and there.
That's right. Yeah. Like AirSmart, AirSmart Academy, right? Your name, right?
My name, yeah. Pilot.
Yes.
I heard those things.
Yeah, I use so many words in Japanese. Just pronunciation is different. Okay, it's going to be fun. Actually, the name of Anna, I think a Japanese name too.
Oh, good.
In Japanese kanji.
Oh, nice.
Just different character, but I heard the name.
Oh, pretty.
Okay, now, so...
There's a delay in the...
Yeah, that's right. There's a
Okay.
delay. There's a delay.
I can notice a little bit. Try not to stare at it too
Yeah.
much, though.
I know. Okay, so I need to open up my information here. Let's see.
Can I show my photos or
Sure.
is it better to just... Okay.
I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself first, and then, yes, go
Okay.
ahead, please.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
Okay.
Okay, we got the comment already here, broadcasting over there.
There's comments already?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, hi, wow, that's beautiful. Nice, looking cool.
Oh.
Because I had the lighting for you, I must look so black.
Oh.
That's okay.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
We can move. Maybe
Do you want to
no.
move it a
No,
little
no.
bit?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Because you are the
Because we do have a lot of light on us.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe we want to be... No.
Okay. In 20 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
はい、皆さんお待たせいたしました。もう最初からですね、コメントもいただいております。すごく、ね、綺麗でかっこいいお二人が今日は座っていらっしゃいますので、たくさん質問をしていきたいと思います。皆さんからも質問を受け付けしております。それでは最初に、自己紹介からお願いしたいと思います。Okay, Lauren, Anna, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
very happy
Thank you.
to be here. Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
for coming to this radio show. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren, Scott. I live in the United States of America in the state of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I have 3 children. I'm married to my husband for 25 years, and I'm a pilot right now for AirSmart, and I have also been a flight instructor.
Okay, I gotta translate it.
Okay.
はい、皆さん今お聞きになった通り、ローレン・スコットさんで、今アメリカのネバダ州に、エアスマートのパイロットとして働いて、子供が3人、結婚して24 years? 25に結婚して25年というところで、お母さんパイロットですね。というところで、自己紹介していただきました。OK. Anna?
Yeah, and hi everyone. I'm Anna. I'm 21 years old. I'm a recent college graduate that's currently working as a first officer here at AirSmart, and I'm also a flight instructor.
はい、ありがとうございます。娘さんアンナさんからは、最近大学を卒業して、今こちらの方で、エアスマートでファーストオフィサー、副操縦士として働いているというような、自己紹介いただきました。Okay, that's perfect brief introduction, but I understand, say how you, this next question is I put the script right there. You know, it's very, very rare for us Japanese to see female pilots and then daughter and mother. So I'm very curious how you get started. So start with the Lauren.
So my story goes way back to the 1920s, actually. My aunt...
You're not that old.
No, but it started with my family, with my relatives. So my aunt was a pilot in 1929. She became a certified pilot. And that was back in the day when the airplanes weren't as safe as they are today. And she didn't have any money to learn how to fly. So she exchanged advertising for the school. She would jump out of airplanes with a parachute to advertise for the flight school in exchange for lessons. Do you want to translate that?
Okay. 今ね、聞いたところですね、1920年代から、実は彼女の、祖先というか、親族の方から実はパイロットの話が始まって、その頃はまだまだ飛行機が、普及していなかったので、そのパイロット訓練っていうのもなかったので、その方自身が学校に行って、パラシュートダイビング、
Yes.
Right. パラシュートのダイビングとかそういうもので、宣伝をして、飛行機の訓練を始めたっていうのがきっかけで、それが that was your aunt.
Yes.
彼女のおばさんが、いわゆるスコット家の一番最初のパイロットというところで始まった。おばさんですよ。女性の方ですよ。女性のおばの方が、訓練を始めたのが一番最初に。So that was the first history for your aviation in your family.
Yes. And I brought her picture.
写真持ってきていただいたそうですので、ちょっと見ていただいてほしいんですが。見えますね。
This is my Aunt Mary.
メアリーおばさんらしいです。はい。
And she actually taught my dad how to fly.
あら、このおばさんが、おばが、ローレンさんのお父さんにフライトを教えたというところから始まった。
So he also became a professional pilot, and
で
this is his
ローレンさ
picture.
ん、お父さんが、もう実際にコマーシャルパイロット、エアラインのパイロットとして、成功されたというような歴史があるそうです。わお。
My mother was a flight attendant.
お母さんは客室乗務員、もう航空一家ですね。エビエーションファミリー。
Yeah, so my parents met while they were working for the airlines together. They got married, and then we had 3 children.
ああ、お父さんがパイロット、お母さん客室乗務員という航空会社での出会いから結婚して、ローレンさんが生まれたというような歴史があるそうです。
So we have a big family history in aviation. When I was and my brother is also a professional pilot as well, my older brother. Yeah.
お兄さんの方も、プロのコマーシャルパイロットというそうです。
So I didn't know that I wanted to learn how to fly until I was about 16 years old. A friend of my father's took me up in a very small plane. And I went up for a ride, and I couldn't stop smiling. It was so much fun.
ああ、なるほど、なるほど。これもね、先週、レベッカのお話聞いたんですけど、一番最初のフライトの経験っていうのが、実際16歳までフライトの経験がなかったらしいんですね。こうやってお父さん、お母さんが航空業界にいるおばさんが、パイロットとして始めたっていうヒストリーはあったんだけども、ローレンさん自身が飛行機に乗るのは16歳。で、16歳の時に初めて小型機に乗って、もう笑いが止まらなかったと。もう笑いが止まらないぐらいもう感動したということ。 So it was your first flight in a 16 years old in a
Yes.
little airplane.
Yes.
That was like a
2-seat. It was a Piper Cub. So yellow with the lightning bolt down the side on a grass field. And he took me up and I loved it. So I decided that's what I want to do when I go to college.
なるほど。そのパイパーカブという2人乗りのちっちゃい飛行機、もうネットで探すもうすぐ出てくるんですよ。黄色い可愛い飛行機なんで、その飛行機に乗って、もう乗った瞬間に、さっき言ったように、もう笑みが止まらずに、もうこれでやっていこうと思って大学に行くことを決めたっていうのがきっかけらしいです。Wow, that's a fantastic story that you started. All right, so Anna.
Yeah.
So you did not know, did you know that kind of big, long story, like
Honestly,
history?
I didn't realize it for a long time growing up. She wasn't flying when I was a kid for most of the time.
Oh,
I think I went on maybe one flight with her and my brother when I was about 8 years old. But it didn't really click for me that that was what I wanted to do yet.
like when you
Until-
were like 8 years old.
Right.
今、アンナさんに話を聞いたら、こんな、航空一家の中でどんな感じでスタートしたのかなと思って興味持って聞いたんですけども、実は彼女が小さい頃っていうのは、お母さんの方は、主婦をされてた。これ後から聞こうと思うんですけど、主婦をされてたので、そこまで環境がなかったと。8歳の時に乗る機会があったんだけども、そこまではお兄さん乗ったらしいんで、そこまで感じなかったことなんですが、So when you were 8 years old, who did you fly with?
With her.
Oh,
Yeah.
So she still did some recurrent flights and training, and this was one fun flight that she decided that she wanted to take us up so we could at least experience it once with my brother. So I remember I was climbing in the back of the plane and we would swap seats in the middle of the flight while she was up there. So I did remember that as a positive experience. But it was really the stories that got me later on more involved. When I became a teenager, starting to think about what I wanted to do with my life, I realized that there were so many great stories from aviation. So I started taking college prep classes. They told us to choose a major, and I was looking in alphabetical order at all the degrees.
Hey.
So I like to joke. Exactly, I'm a simple woman. I stopped at A. I just saw aviation. I was like, that's the one. Stories. So.
はい、今の話をですね、先ほど話した、お母さんの方がやっぱり主婦をされてたので、8歳の時に初めて乗ったと、兄弟と乗って、飛行機の中でね、席をスイッチしながら乗ったというところなんですけども、そのティーネイジャーになって、大学を選ばなくちゃいけないっていう時になった時に、もう真剣に将来を考えた時にですね、その大学の選ぶコースの中で、アルファベット順に、大学のコースがあるんですね、アルファベット。A から始まると、エビエーションというのがあるんですね。で、そこで彼女は、私はシンプルだからってことで、A を見た時に、エビエーション。もうこれ航空で行くしかないというところで、もう航空で行こうって決めたのがきっかけと。That was interesting.
Yeah, no, but I was pretty competitive too. So she has some really cool stories from college actually too. She became the first collegiate winner of something called the Air Race Classic, which in the United States is an air race for women, where we get to display our flight planning skills and flying skills to try to time points and basically get the best performance out of our airplane. And she was the very first collegiate winner of that. So I was a little competitive growing up, and I heard that story too, and I thought, I want to do something like that where she enjoys it so much. It was so obvious, but also being kind of competitive, I realized that I could sort of put these skills to use in college too.
後から聞こうと思うんですけども、そのお母さんの方もかなりいろんな経験されているっていうのを聞いて、エアレースっていうのも、実際この飛行機を飛ばしてですね、そのレースというかその時間を競うものがあるんですけど、そういったものの、先を走ってたっていうのをお母さんのことを聞いてたので、それも含めていろんなことでお母さんと競争したいなと思ったっていうのが、一つのきっかけらしいんですけど、Then I want to ask you about that kind of things, after get you started,
Yes.
then I ask about that, but now I want to know about after you decided to go taking the lessons, and then I heard that you are like a home mom for
Yes.
a while. So can you tell me about the
Sure.
how you get start as a flight student, get your flight training, and then can you tell me about the story, please?
Yeah, so I did apply to some schools to study aviation, and I got into Purdue, which was my dream school for aviation. They had a really reputable program, and I was so blessed to be able to get in. So I went to Purdue, and I got my private, my instrument, commercial, CFI, and at the time we actually had a program for flight engineer training on a 727. So I earned my flight engineer rating in a 727 while I was at Purdue.
大学にポーデューという大学、すごく有名な大学あるんですけども、そこに行きたい。そこに行って実際に免許もアマチュアな免許からプロの免許、そしてフライトインストラクターという免許まで取ったんですけども、その中で727のエンジニアの航空機関士っていうレーティングですね。それまで取得して大学を卒業したっていうのが、この最初に16歳でフライトを体験してからもう大学に行ってからっていうお話です。So what about after you got your
Yes. So at the time, it was very difficult for pilots right out of flight school to get another job besides flight instructing. So I was flight instructing for about 2.5 years. During that time, I married my husband. And then we found out we were expecting a baby, which was very exciting. But the industry in aviation was not doing very well. It was after 9/11, right after 9/11. And so I decided that I wanted to be a stay-home mom and that I would keep my certification for piloting current so I could keep my flight instructor certificate every 2 years. And I would come back to it at some point in the future. But for now, I was just going to focus on the kids.
なるほど、なるほど。大学卒業して、その頃っていうのは、ちょうど、9/11アメリカの同時多発テロが起こった後だったので、そんなに仕事としてもパイロットの仕事がなく、その時あったのが、フライトインストラクターの仕事はあったので、しばらくそこで2年半ぐらい、教官としてのフライトをしていたそうです。その時に今のご主人と出会って結婚をして、で、そしてお子さんを授かって、もうその時は、お母さんの方は、ローレンの方は、もうしばらくは主婦として、子供たちのことを考えていこうというところで、パイロットとしては、技量を維持しなくちゃいけないんですけども、それのミニマム、要するに加齢士を維持したりだとか、フライトインストラクターの資格を維持したりだ、そのあたりで、しばらく、ご自宅にいらっしゃったというのが、お話でした。So you've been a home mom for a while,
Yes.
and then having the 3 kids.
Yes.
And she said that when she was like 8 years old, and then her brother took them out for flying, right?
Yes.
You still remember that day?
I do. I think that she was a little younger than 8. But then again, we would go to air shows. Sometimes we would go to the Nellis Air Show. We would go to little air shows there was some at Boulder City, some local air shows that they would be involved in aviation a little bit. And then there's an organization that would offer free rides to kids. And so she and her brother both did that as well growing up.
実際はその、子供が8歳までにもし行かなかったかもしれないんだけども、この近所っていうのはとにかくいろんなエアショーがあるので、特にここだと近くにネリスエアフォースベースっていうのがあって、そこのエアショーに連れて行ったり、で、ある団体っていうのはその子供たちにフリーライド、ただでね、飛行機を乗っけてとにかく楽しんでもらうっていうイベントがたくさんあるので、そういうのにたくさん連れて行ったというのをしっかり覚えているそうです。So, Anna, you remember that she took her up a lot of air shows and interactive flight training, all that kind of stuff,
for some reason it didn't stick in my mind as much. I kind of wish I had more, but I definitely remember the flight that I went on with her and one of the Young Eagles flights, because I had the opportunity later when I started doing my flight training with you in private, which was awesome, by the way. I got to come back as a 17-year-old now saying I have 50 hours in my logbook. I've started flight training. I remember the flight that I did with you guys, and I got to meet one of the pilots who was really instrumental in the aviation community here in Vegas.
So you already got 15 hours already, like
when I was 17.
17.
When she was 17, yeah.
So I stared pretty young thanks to this one too. Yeah.
17, right? 17歳の時にはもうすでにこういったイベント、Young Eagle program, what is it called?
Young Eagles.
Young Eagle, Okay, じゃあ、ヤングイーグルプログラムっていうのがあって、それは本当にアメリカの団体で子供たちを、ヤングイーグルですよね。子供たちを飛行機に乗っけて航空を楽しんでもらおうっていうイベントがもう本当にアメリカ中そこらにあるんですけども、そういう団体を使っていっぱい飛んで、何やかんやするために17歳の時までにもうすでに15時間の飛行時間を持ってたと。15 hours in by 17 years old. That's cool. All right. This is how you get your private pilot, or where did you start private pilot?
So I ended up, hadn't been instructing recently, but we decided that I'd take a ground school course. So the academic side of your private pilot studying my senior year of high school. So I enrolled in that, ended up really enjoying it. About halfway through, I remember we had one of our very first flights together in recent years. Was in this really small 150 that we called Green Bean because it had a green paint scheme all over it. But we ended up actually going on a cross country which you don't usually do as one of your very first flight lessons, right? But I remember that as pretty much just solidifying what I wanted to do in college with my career, even just flying and having something to.
So that's before even going to college?
Yeah. So this was my senior year of high school.
Senior high school.
Yeah.
結局アンナの場合には、その高校のもう後半、卒業年度ですね、その時までには飛行時間を持ってたんですけども、お母さんと一緒に152っていう飛行機、2人乗り飛行機を乗って、クロスカントリー、遠いところに2人で出かけていくという経験をしたっていうのが、もう実は高校3年生、日本でいうと高校3年生の時にそういった経験をしていた。これもなかなか日本ではね、あんまりないことだと思うんですけども、so you got that experiences when you were high school, then you decided to go aviation college.
Exactly. Yeah. So really in private pilot training throughout the entirety of it, I was amazed by one, how much you had to do, but then seeing this modeled through her with really how much you could do. You know, like it turned from this challenge and this overwhelming amount of information into something that I was just kind of amazed and blown away by. So I kept through it. A lot of my instructors at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University is where I ended up going. It's Part 141 that trains a lot of professional pilots. They were pretty impressed by your flight instruction that I had gotten in private. So I got my instrument and 2 commercial license there for single engine and multi-engine training. And then I ended up coming back one summer to do my certified flight instructor training with her again. So it was kind of a full circle.
All right, start with her and then flight instructor with her.
Yeah, exactly.
こうやって高校生の時にお母さんとフライトをしてプライベートから教えてもらって、本当に勉強すればするほどやることもたくさんあって、大変なチャレンジなことなんだけども、実際に自分のお母さんを見てるので、自分のその、モデルとして、例としてね、成功例として、身近にいるってことですごく安心できたと。で、そうやって大学に行って、パイロットの資格っていうのはその次もあるんですよね。次回を取ると経験を取ると次回事業用ってなるんですけども、一番最初はお母さんから習ったプライベート。そうやって大学に進んで次々とステップ取って、最終的にはそのお母さんが先ほど言ったフライトインストラクターっていう資格なんですけど、それももう一度お母さんから習ったと。始まりと一番最後の資格は自分の母親から習うという。こんな素敵な話、すごくないですか、皆さん。All right, it's been 22. I need to pick up some questions. I mean, the comments here. Let's see. I got that. Oops. All right. サミさん、こんにちは。サミさん is going to be here for a while, very, very soon. Yeah, she said hi. ゆうこさん said there's Air Race Classic. That's the only women can participate.
Yes.
She knows it.
Oh,
wonderful.
wonderful.
She's the one of the director for the Asian woman in aviation.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes, she's the one. So she's on the Go Ladies. She said Go Ladies. And Takemi watching the show right now.
Oh, hi, Takemi.
Hey guys, I'm watching. Oh, I'm wearing my shirt. All right, Tommy said hello.
Hi, Tommy.
All right, and ありがとうございます。そしてですね、ツイキャスからもいただいております。ありがとうございます。なぎすけさん、こんにちは。カピバラさん、親子パイロット憧れます。からいもあめさん、お二人とも綺麗でかっこいいということで、I'm reading the tweet casting comment. Wow, that's like a family palace. That's nice. That's what she said. All right, so let's go back. じゃあちょっと話を一回戻します。I'm like switching back to Japanese English. Okay, so今きっかけをお話ししましたね。で、多分この話もちょっとしてたんで、私ちょっとタイトルを変えるの忘れちゃったんですけども、今のポジションの話で、ちょっと OK, let me ask you another question. Because after you get your private instrument commercial in the college, any chances you flew together when you when you go back home? Because you're a home mom and you gotta fly with flying sometime, right?
So when she was done with college, or when she was in college?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, whenever she would come home on breaks, we would go flying. That's what we would do for fun.
I was lucky. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we would fly to Big Bear. Oh, we flew to Death Valley National Park for my birthday. That's what I wanted to do for the day. So we went together. We flew to Echo Bay once. We flew. I feel like we've done so many flights. We did the Grand Canyon 1 year for New Year's. We went all the way around the Grand Canyon.
Around it.
Yeah.
That was one of the most memorable experiences. This was so pretty though, because there's snow all over the cliffs.
Oh, nice. その娘さんがね、大学行ってる時に、やっぱり大学から戻ってきた時、お家に帰った時っていうのをフライトしてるんですが、それはもちろんよってことで、もうあっちこっち行ったと。で、ローレンのその誕生日には、デスバレに行ったとか、あとはそのアンナがいつまでも一番覚えてるんだけどって言ったのは、グランドキャニオンをくるっと一周する。そんなフライト普通ないですよ、皆さん。普通一般的な観光客であれば、ラスベガス、もしくは、ロングビーチ、ロサンゼルスからグランドキャニオンに直行、チャーター便があるんですけども、それを彼女たちは自分の飛行機で、借りた飛行機でグランドキャニオンをぐるっと一周をするという。そのフライトはアンナにとってすごく記念に思い出深いフライトだったっていうふうにお話をしています。It's kind of long flight. How long would it take to go around the Grand Canyon?
So we were in a 2-seat light sport. Yeah, so it took us, I think, about 8 hours of flight time. So we took off at sunrise and we came back after dark. Yeah.
ライトスポーツで2人乗りのちっちゃな飛行機でもう丸1日かけて8時間、離陸した時には、朝方、それからぐるっと一周して戻ってきた時には、夕方になったっていうぐらいのフライト。So you remember that was nice memory of flight.
Yeah, that was fun. It doesn't feel quite as long as a car ride for some reason. Whenever you're in the plane, I find myself feeling kind of absorbed by it and just amazed half the time, staring out the window. I mean, you have to pay attention to what you're doing, of course, but sometimes you reach cruise and the time goes by quicker than you want it to.
8時間とはいえ、やっぱりもうもちろんフライトするっていう真剣なところでもあるんですけど、やっぱり見える景色とかそういうものが、やっぱり時々ね、この世界入ってよかったなみたいなその、景色があるんですけども、I think we never fly together, but when I fly with the other captains, sometimes we like cruising and then very calm, and then when you have time to look around, like, wow, what is a great view, right?
Yeah.
That's what I talk to the pilot all the time. You do the same thing with a co-pilot, and you do the same thing with the captain,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
今ね、彼女が言ったそのグランドキャニオンぐるって回った時に、やっぱり、すごく景色が良かったっていう話をした時に、まだ実は私ね、ローレンと乗ったことないんですよ。まだ一回もチーム組んだことなくて、もちろんアナと同じコーパイロットなので飛ぶことないんですけども、やっぱり私も彼女たちも上空に行って仕事をして乗った時に、この一瞬ね、外の景色見た時に、この景色いいよねっていうのは、自分は話してるんだけどって言ったら同じようにやっぱり話してるそうです。Alright, so it's almost 30 minutes. Believe that?
So fast.
So fast. Okay, we're going to take the commercial break real quick, and then after that, we're going to talk about the flight instructor and the charter operation, but the AirSmart aviation things. Alright? Okay, では一旦コマーシャルに入りたいと思います。Woo!
Good job, Tana. Wow.
No, I forgot to change the title because I've been talking to you because I kept
What did it say?
I kept having like how did you get started? But I want to talk about so much things after that, but that's okay.
That's okay, like the slide title. Yeah. Oh well.
That's great family history.
Yeah.
Not many people have a similar
I know,
story.
even in the US, it's a little more rare to have a mother-daughter team.
Yeah. There's a few of us out there. I know there's one that just started at Hawaiian Airlines recently, like within the last month. I saw a post about that. And then there's one I know there was one at SkyWest, mother-daughter team that circulated on.
Yes, I think I saw that in an article. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're out there. I think it's becoming more common as people are, the generation of females. There's more of us as we're getting older. We have children that are able to fly as well.
Yes.
So
That's still like 5%, 6%, and then like as I said before the show, it's only not even 1% in Japan.
In Japan, that's so low.
But you said the probably over 10% on a student pilot, female student pilot.
I
right?
think it might even be higher than that. But the ones that finish, I don't think it's as high. I think there's student pilots, it could be somebody who signed up, took an introductory ride, and then processed their paperwork but never finished it. So, but the numbers are going up. That's a good sign.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And I talk about the percentage is very high in its AirSmart. I think I counted 25%.
Yes.
25 to 30%
At
all
least,
the time.
yeah, I was going to
At
say.
We
least.
actually went out
Must
to
be
dinner
higher.
at Burning Man, and 50% of us were women at the dinner.
Yeah.
And we looked at the picture. We're like, is that right? Like, not everybody was there, but it was still encouraging.
まなみんコマーシャル終わった？ She's gonna ask. まなみん OK？ 大丈夫 ?OK。それでは、ですね、はい。では、CM 明け恒例のまなみんの質問コーナ
はい。よろしくお願いします。
ー。She's in the studio right now.
Yes.
She's gonna have some questions for you.
Oh, great. Good.
はい。どうしようかな。このお二人でもしこの一緒にこの飛行機に乗ったことがもしあるのであれば、なんかお互いにそのお互いの操縦からなんか学んだこととかってあったりするのかなってちょっと。
はい。これは
はい。
今の仕事で？
今の仕事で、はい。
今の仕事で。
っていうのをちょっと聞きたいなと思いました。
We're going to talk about the AirSmart flight operation after this commercial, but
Okay.
she's asking because you wear uniform. And she asks, she's guessing that you fly together.
Yes.
She's asking if, say, co-pilot, what you learn from her, and you as captain, what do you learn from her, if there is any? That's what she's asking.
Okay.
No, I think maybe I can start because I'm really in the position where I'm learning a lot more. I was thinking about actually the other day how mothers are often kind of your first teacher in a lot of things. I mean, you think of a toddler and they're going around pointing to everything. They're saying, what is this? What is this? How do you say this? That kind of thing. So even though I'm not at that level anymore as a student pilot, as somebody who's new to this operation as a charter pilot, part of being in a crew environment is really verification. Right? We talk about verification a lot, even on all your checklists, on all your callouts, everything you do, you need to verify and make sure that you're doing the correct action or thinking the right way in a safe way. They'll make the flight operation go smoothly and be a good experience for the passengers. So in the flight deck, I learned a lot from her by just asking a lot of verification questions by saying, this is how I do this, right? Not necessarily in like I haven't been trained, but more as I want to make sure that I'm doing my job correctly. And we always want to make sure on vice versa that I'm also kind of backing up her or whichever captain I'm with.
今、アンナ、娘さんの方から話最初に聞いたんですけど、もちろんほら、親子っていうところでね、自分の上からいろいろ学ぶことってあると思うんだけど、フライトに入ってきた、それこそ彼女の場合、私と同じタイミングぐらいで入ってきた、まだまだ若い、まだまだ新人なので、そのフライトデッキ、いわゆるコックピットの中で、お互いクルーとして、学ぶべきことというか、やるべきこと、指示があったんであれば、それをちゃんと確認をしながら、ちゃんと口頭でリピートをしながら、ちゃんと仕事をしていく。そういうものを、仕事としてもいろんなそのやり方みたいなものを実際のオペレーションから学んだというところで、感覚はこのお母さんにとっても本当に仕事、もう一旦コックピットの中に入ってしまうと、一キャプテンとして学ぶことが多いということをおっしゃってました。Okay. I know you are flying with Anna, not just her, but you're gonna fly. You fly with the young first officer, but typically for her, as she asks, is anything that you learn from her by flying?
Yeah, definitely. I think because I took such a long break from flying, sometimes I worked my way back, but sometimes there's still a symbol on the chart or something that I can't remember. And the other thing is she had really good instructors at Embry-Riddle. And so I'm benefiting from the training that she received there as well. So if I have a question about a procedure or the way that we approach something together, I really like bouncing my ideas and my thoughts off of her to see if she has a different way of looking at it than maybe I was thinking about it.
なるほど、なるほど。お母さんの方は、このしばらくこの飛行機を離れたっていう期間があるので、ある中で、この娘さんの方はもう最近大学からできたばっかりフレッシュなわけですよ。なので、その知識の確認とか、そういうものをちょっと確認を取ったりとかっていうところで、知識のブラッシュアップみたいなものを、確認されているそうです。お互いやっぱり学ぶことがある。
そうなんですね。ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, そしたらですね、後半にですね、入ったら、You said that you were in the flight instructor in Embry-Riddle.
Yes.
And I heard that you have some great achievement while you were in there. Can you
Oh,
explain to me about that? ですね、
Thank you.
一つ聞きたいんですけど、実はちらっと聞いたときには、娘さんの方がですね、エンブリードルの大学に通っているときに、インストラクターとして仕事をしているときに、すごくなんかね、賞を取ったらしいんですよ。ちょっとそれをお聞きしたいと思います。そう、what was it?
yeah. So I mentioned before I'm pretty competitive, which is why I liked the idea for doing the Air Race Classic as well. And I did get to participate in our version of that during the pandemic called the Women's Air Race Derby. That was a very fun experience, but that actually wasn't what I ended up kind of having some competition success in. So I was actually able to join something called the Golden Eagles Flight Team, which was a group of young pilots that were all students. And we'd get together and practice landings, navigation, ground fence, that kind of thing. But something that I was able to do is we had a national competition in Ohio with 28 schools, including Air Force Academy, Ohio State University, Embry-Riddle's Daytona campus. Purdue was there as well. So I got to see some of her alma maters and graduates, that kind of thing. But I placed second in the certified flight instructor event nationally. So I was honored with the recognition to be one of the nation's top young instructors at that time this year. So thank you.
ナイスですね、大学で競技会があるらしいんですよ。で、20の大学、もちろんエアフォースアカデミーに入ったりだとか、それこそお母さんの水曜したパーデュー大学も出たりだとか、その大学の、選手権みたいなのがあって、そのインストラクションという、部門があるんですけども、その中でなんと、全米2位、No.2、second place。全米で2位の、結果を残したという、実はすごい人なんですね。
Thank you.
That was great. That was great. っていうのが、実はコンビニに挟んでおりましたので、今日なかなか繰り出さなかったので、私の方からちょっと聞いてみました。というところで、今、タイトルに載っているそのフライトインストラクター、2人ともね、フライトインストラクターの仕事をしていたので、ここでちょっと聞いてみたいんですけども。Because I put the flight instructor's positive and negative thing, because you've been doing a lot of flight training, so you probably can tell to the audience, because I'm telling everybody, hey, why don't you come to the United States and become the flight instructor and then get a lot of experiences and move on? Because if you get that experiences, you have more chance.
Yeah.
Right? なので、ちょっと聞いてみたいと思います。So, Lauren, can you tell me
Yes.
about the positive, negative side of the flight instructor?
Yeah, I loved flight instructing. I mean, there's just something so rewarding about taking someone who's somebody who's brand new and doesn't know anything about aviation. It's like learning a new language and being able to take them through the knowledge and the flight training, the skills, and to see them succeed and be able to go off and fly by themselves. It's so rewarding. So that's one of the things I love about flight instructing.
ローレンが今言ってたのは、やっぱりこの何も知らないレベルの人たちを全て自分の責任で、教えて、知識もそう、実地もそう、そういうのを教えていって、最終的にはその方々が免許を取って一人で飛んでいく、そういう実際に成長していく過程を見るのがやっぱりもうインストラクターとしての醍醐味だっていうことをおっしゃってました。Any negative side of you?
There were a few times I was telling Anna earlier today that as a new flight instructor, you can kind of put your guard down and not expect your students to do something that might be a little reckless or not very safe. And so as a new instructor, there were a couple of instances that I remember that I could kind of relax and let my guard down, and then they, hit the tail on the runway during takeoff. They over rotated or just didn't come in very stable on a landing or something. So the negatives can be, you can get a little scared sometimes with students because they're still learning a lot. Some, depending on where you work, the schedule can be kind of rough for flight instructors. I was an independent contractor, so I was able to set my own hours, which I loved. But I think one of the things that people struggle with flight instructing is if they have too many students and they don't have enough downtime, it can be very exhausting.
なるほど。そういう楽しいフライトインストラクターの話も聞く一方で、何かマイナスでありますかって聞くと、いくつか挙げてたんですけども、やっぱり新米の頃っていうのはなかなか慣れてないので、やっぱりインストラクションしていて生徒と飛ぶのが怖いというか、生徒に、何をされるか分かるとも言わないんだけども、そういう怖さは実は正直あったと。これは最初の頃ですけどね、という話をしてました。で、それと、あとはやっぱりスケジューリングが、それはもうインストラクターによって大変らしいです。いっぱい生徒を抱えてると、やっぱりそれなりに時間も大変だし、スケジュールも作りにくいしっていうのもあるんだけど、これはやっぱりローレンバーには自分で、 くまでもインストラクターとしてコントラクトでやったので、そのあたりは、調整してということは言いました。Thank you very much. Anna, to be a flight instructor in college, you got a second place of the national things, but you have great thing, some other things. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more maybe from the flight instructor side of the learning experience that it is. So one, becoming the certified flight instructor is one of the most difficult ratings that you're going to do throughout your training if you choose to do that. But for good reason, you know, you have lives in your hands and you're teaching future pilots that are going to go out into the industry, and you need to make sure that their decision making and your own is reflecting a positive side that you want to see that behavior replicated in the future. So even from the knowledge base, I had to learn so much when I was working towards that rating. But then I realized even after I got the certificate and I started practically becoming a flight instructor, having my own students, that kind of thing, I realized I still had a lot to learn in terms of communication and being able to expand these ideas to multiple people. You know, everybody comes from their own separate position, and they have different ways that they learn, they have different ways that they communicate, different ways that they react to frustration and that kind of thing. So it was important for me as a person even to learn those skills and communication skills, because I was still pretty young when I started.
アンナの場合にはまた別の視点でちょっとお話してくれたんですけども、実はそのフライトインストラクターってパイロットの資格の中でも結構一番大変と言われている資格です。勉強する量でフライトの技術も含めてかなり難易度の高い資格というふうに言われていて、それに行くまでの過程ももちろん大変だったんだけど、それを実際取得してそういった方々に教えるときになると、さまざまなこともやっぱり人間として勉強していかなくちゃいけないと。その自分の相手の生徒さんっていうのは皆さん生きてきた環境が違うわけで、それぞれ人それぞれの学び方、話し方、いろんな特性を持っている中、それを見出してちゃんとそれに対して対応しなきゃいけないという意味では、飛行機を教えるということだけではなくて、まだ私は若いので、そうやって人間として、勉強するためにすごくいい資格だったなというふうに今お話をしていました。Any downside, if any?
Yeah, you want me to start with that one?
Sure.
Sure. So potential downsides that you could have is your confidence as an instructor. When you start out, you start to realize that things aren't going to go perfectly 100% of the time, right? Students run into roadblocks, they can hit plateaus, they can get frustrated, and sometimes you can take that upon yourself as a flight instructor, saying, why aren't they doing better? What am I doing wrong that's not helping you succeed? Because as flight instructors, we always want to see our students succeed. We want them to be happy, right? But the reality of flight training is that it can be difficult. You know, there's a lot to learn, and absolutely no pilot is 100% perfect, especially students, right? So it was learning patience, and it was also learning that performance is not necessarily a reflection of your self-worth, either as a student or as an instructor, right? And I think I went a long time before learning that, but flight instructing, it was kind of a positive and a negative because it helps me learn that, but also I realized I had to confront that and realize that.
はい、ありがとうございます。やっぱりね、この表裏一体というか、そのプラスマイナスが実は一緒だってことなんですよね。生徒さんがやっぱりできないときっていうのは、必ずあります。生徒さんも 100% できるわけでもないし、必ずその壁にぶち当たることがあります。その時にどうやったらできるんだろうかっていうところで自分を振り返ってみたり、生徒に、立ち返ってみたりとか、その様々なその状況を、一緒に経験していくことで、それが結局最終的には、大変なんだけども、その人たちが一つ一つクリアしたときに、結局自分の自信にもつながるし、そしてそれは最終的にはさっき言ったように、自分のそのインストラクターとしてのプラスの面になるというところで、プラスマイナスがいつもね、交互に来るような形の仕事なのかなっていうふうにお話をしてました。Okay, now it's almost 50 minutes left. We need to talk about the charter pilot.
Yeah.
I know you fly together, and can you tell me about how good thing about a charter pilot? It's not airline pilot. It's a charter operations, right? So it's different. So can you tell me about the difference between, not difference between, but the good thing about being a charter pilot from you and you too?
Yeah. So being a charter pilot involves a lot of areas of responsibility that maybe airline pilots don't have to deal with. So we plan our own flights, our own routes, our altitude that we're going to fly, how much fuel on board, how many seats we're going to keep in the plane. We have to coordinate a lot of details and make sure that we're following the regulations. And then dealing with weather. It's our decision if we're going to continue a flight into an airport that has very low weather, or if we're going to divert somewhere else, or if we're going to wait it out. There's a lot of decisions to be made. But the positive of that is that it's very challenging. So it's not an easy job, so to speak. And it stretches our skills as a pilot, I believe, and as a leader, taking care of our customers. But then there's also the side of customer service. So we are the flight crew. We don't have a flight attendant on board. So if there are concerns that come up with the passengers or details or logistics that they need help working out, we are there to help them. So I really enjoy that aspect of it as well.
チャーターパイロットってエアラインパイロットとはやっぱり違って、我々が乗ってる飛行機っていうのは客室乗務員もいない状態なので、すべて彼女たちですね、フライトクルーが責任を持ってやるんだけども、やっぱり行くところいろんな場所があって、その天気のこと、気象のこと、そして実際荷物のこと、様々な状況を普通のエアラインパイロットではやらないことを全部責任を持ってやらなくちゃいけないという面では大変ではある。でも、それがさっきのフライトインストラクターに言ってるんですけども、それをやることによって、自分のスキルを伸ばす。で、技術を伸ばす。知識を伸ばす。そういった、可能性を秘めている仕事っていうのが、チャーターパイロットのお話でしたね。Alright, good. Anna, you've been here for, I think,
2 months.
2
now,
months.
So pretty short time period, but I am loving it so far. And part of the reason why is because we have such a variety of destinations. We still get to see a lot of the country, and our routes change every single day. We never have a week that looks the exact same as the last week. So I'm kind of enjoying the dynamic side of that. We're not necessarily assigned a line like some airline pilots might be. You know, we're always, I get to go to Colorado today and drink coffee watching, the mountains and the clouds coming in. And some other days I might be on the beach and just breathing in like the air. It's really a nice side of the job for me. You said you like being home every night too.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about that earlier, and that side of being a charter pilot at AirSmart specifically is pretty nice a lot of the time, where we still get to travel, see a lot of the country, but we still get to come home to our own beds every night and not have to live out of a suitcase. So, yeah.
アンナはね、こっちに来てまだ2ヶ月ちょっとなんですけども、もう本当に行くところ毎回違うと。それがすごく楽しいと。コロラドに行くときもあれば、山の方に行くときもあれば、西海岸に行って海のところに行くところもあれば、もうとにかく行くところがもうどんどん違うというので、とっても楽しいというのと、あとはお母さんと今顔を見合わせてお話してましたけど、毎日お家に帰れるっていうのが、ほぼほぼ家に帰れるっていうのが、このエアスマートの特徴ですごくいいところだよってお話してました。Okay, now, because you're talking about the AirSmart, so Tom is watching. Any positive side of the AirSmart? I think you mentioned something.
Yeah, we mentioned some of them. So one of the things we didn't mention is some of the airports that we get to fly into are really fun. Like Tommy and I actually flew into a grass strip up in Idaho, and I hadn't landed on a grass runway since I was 17 in that little Piper Cub. So to be able to fly the type of plane that we fly into a grass strip where there's people camping on the side of the runway, I mean, it's like a dream come true. It's such a fun type of flying that we get to do. And then we took passengers into the Burning Man festival, and we got to land on the dry lake bed and in a sandstorm. And, it's just, there's such a variety of experiences. Sometimes we go to Mexico, we go to California, Utah, Montana. So the variety of places that we fly to is really fun.
エアスマートの良さっていうところで、さっきも話をしてたんですけど、とにかくいろんな場所に行くのがこのエアスマートの特徴かなと。実はこの間、うちの CEO のタミーとね、一緒に飛んだんだけども、本当にちっちゃいところの、グラスフィールド、いわゆる草地ですよ、草地、皆さん。草地に降りる、滑走路じゃないですよ。滑走路なんだけど、コンクリートとかそういうものではなくて、草地に降りるという経験をもう、ローレンの場合はもう17歳の時に経験した以来の久々のことだったので、そういうところに降りたと。で、降りると、その周りにはキャンプをしている人たちがいたりとか、そういういろんなバラエティに富んだフライトができる。そして、先月かな、バーニングマンというイベントがあったんですけども、そこは本当に砂漠の中に、1週間だけ、マッチができるんですけども、そこにお客さんを運んで、連れてくるっていうフライト。そういうのもやっぱりこのエアスマートのならではの仕事として楽しいですよっていうお話でした。Anna, any positive side of the AirSmart?
Yeah, I'll agree with most of the things that she said with the variety of flights that we get to do. I mean, talking about a grass strip, flying commercially and professionally, I mean, we are probably one of the only companies that can professionally do that. Our planes aren't very large, but they're also not small. Like that's probably one of the largest types of planes that you can get into those kinds of places. So I kind of get a kick out of saying that I've been able to have some of those experiences and share that as well. So.
お母さんの考え方にも本当に同意するんだけども、それに追加すると、すれば、この飛行機っていうのは、大きくはないんだけども、全然小さくもないと。我々が普通に免許を取った時に持てる機体の、一番大きいぐらいの大きな飛行機なんですけども、そのぐらいの飛行機が乗れるというところ。で、やっぱりバラエティに富んだところに飛べるところっていうのでは、そのエアスマートの醍醐味っていうのは、やっぱり二人とも共通してましたね。Okay, now, I know some questions. We have some comments. I think there's several pilots out there, and then they know that we're gonna come to the Aspen. They come to the Aspen. 藤田さん、メッセージありがとうございます。You're there?
I was there today. Yeah.
藤田さん、今日アスペン行ってきたそうですよ。So he's looking forward to seeing you both in Aspen.
Great.
Okay. So let's see. I have another comment, and I like to get your advice from you both for the audience who is looking for maybe I'm thinking about being a pilot, just getting there, like an introductory flight, or maybe for professional pilots. I know only less than 1% of pilot population, female pilot population in Japan, right? So I like to get advice. 日本の女性のパイロットってのは確か 1% あるかないかだと思います。で、アメリカの場合は 8% ついてやっぱりまだまだ少ないんですけども、その現実に今飛ばれているお二人からですね、皆さん、ラジオをお聞きの皆さんがもしパイロットを目指すんであれば、アドバイスを。
So I think one of the most important things, especially if you don't have a family member or a friend who's involved in aviation already, is to find a mentor or a group of mentors that are involved in aviation, because they can answer questions from the type of flight school that you should be looking for to how your flight training is progressing. They can provide a lot of support and encouragement because it can be very difficult with all the things you have to learn. So for the women specifically, I recommend the 99s is an international women of organization of women pilots. Women in Aviation is also worldwide. And then I think it's Asian Women in Aviation is another great organization. So I would reach out to one of those groups. In most cases, you don't have to be a pilot yet to join. You can be a student pilot. So I would definitely recommend looking out for somebody that you can connect with that can kind of help you through the training journey.
このやっぱり女性が少ない環境であるからこそなんですけども、周りにそのパイロットがいないとかそういう環境であれば、ぜひともその飛行機について教えてくれるメンターというかね、そういったオーガニゼーション、組織を探して、加入していろんなことを教えてもらうことをお勧めしますよと。こちらで言うと、99 Aviation 99っていう、99 99っていうエビエーションのその組織があります。そして、先ほどもちらっとお話に出たアジアンウーマン・イン・エビエーションという組織もあります。この組織はですね、これら組織は必ずしもパイロットだけしか入れないわけではなくて、免許を持ってなくても、加入ができますと。そういったところにまず入っていろんな情報を収集する、いろんなことを教えてもらう。そこから始めてみたらどうですかっていうアドバイスがありました。Any advice from?
Yeah, I'll say it's been super helpful, and I'm very thankful that I've had family members in aviation, especially her, because she's been that mentor figure to me, really. But I'd say for people, regardless of who you are, you really need to surround yourself with encouraging people, and sometimes people who are wiser than you and know, for example, what to do in certain situations, because there will be those difficult situations as you go through flight training or your jobs or your first job especially. So I had that in her that I was really able to benefit from, but I'd say really surrounding yourself with a community of people who are uplifting and can give you good advice is really, really important.
Yeah, you're so lucky.
I am. I know that. Yeah.
Very lucky to have this. やっぱり彼女の場合はその家族がね、やっぱり自分のお母さんがパイロットだった、パイロットである、そして教官であるというところではすごくいい環境だったな。やっぱり彼女もおっしゃってますけども、やっぱりそういった環境に一回足を運んでみるっていうのはすごくよろしいんじゃないでしょうかってお話をしてました。で、もう、wow, it's 1 minute. So, we are here in Vegas. So,If you have a chance to, 日本語ね。So, if they have a chance to come to the United States, I think we're here to help them to
we'll
get
be
them
happy.
here, right?
Yes.
は
We'd
い。
love to meet them. Come to the United States and do your training here.
はい、アドバイスとしては、私たちこちらにラスベガスにいるので、飛行機に興味があれば、ぜひラスベガスに来て、こちらのエアスマートに来て、一緒に飛行機に乗りましょうというふうにおっしゃってました。はい、今日もですね、メッセージもたくさんいただいたんですけども、全部お読みすることができず、大変すみません。失礼いたしました。はい、それでは、残り少なくなりました。ちょっとお待ちくださいよ。手順がありましたね。はい。それでは、本日はエアスマートのパイロットとして機長、そして副操縦士で飛ばれているスコット英語です。ローレンさんとアンナさんにお越しいただきました。Thank you very much for coming this show.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Yeah.
また来週です。さようなら。